things are finally taking shape, and from this moment on, from this video on, I promise that the videos in this series will be more tangible. But before we get to what I want to show you today, I have to give you a short explanation, a brief explanation of what my timeline system is and how it works. The system is based on what I call containers of information. Think of containers as a space to keep everything about a specific topic. It can be a folder on your computer, a notebook on Evernote, a folder on the Supernode, or even tags. If you can group things using tags, that's okay. But think of the container as this space where everything about that topic is. This makes it easy to find the information because you can go to that container, and also to save information. You know where to put that information. Now, there are three types of containers. One type of container is the static container. This is where I keep information that I almost never change. For example, my personal documents. If I need to find them, I know exactly where they are. And if I need to change, replace a document, a print of a document that has expired, it's easy. I just go there and change that document, and now I have all the documents up to date. But can you see that I barely changed information there? It's more of a reference space. Then there's the action containers. These are places where I keep everything, every activity I'm still working on. It's the work in progress. For example, the videos I'm working, the collaborations, the clients, everything that's going on stays in its own containers. And the place where the activity is indicates the status of that activity. So everything that is inside one of these action containers is signalizing to me that there's something that I still have to do. Everything that is in a static container is just there to find. I don't have to do anything. Then there is the third type of container, the timeline container. There's just one timeline in my system. It's where I move everything that is done, that is complete. For example, when I finish with this video here, I'll move the note and everything else about this video to the timeline container. Some people think of the timeline container as an archive. It is also an archive, but it's not only an archive, because if I need to, I can go to the timeline and retrieve information. For example, let's say a client wants new sections with me. I can look for that client in the timeline container and move that client to the client's container, which means that now that client that was on archive is now something that is going on, a work in progress, and I can see that. I can see the status because the number of notes, the number of information I have inside the client's container increased, okay? But there's another situation. Maybe I'm recording this video now and I need to check something on a similar video I recorded, I don't know, a month ago, weeks ago, or last week. I can go to the timeline container and check that information, look at what I needed, and that's that. I don't have to move anything. I was just looking for information. And that's why I say that the timeline container is not only an archive, it works as an archive. Another example, if a document expires, I move it to the timeline container and I, like I said before, add a new document, a valid document to my documents container. There's more to the system. There's even a book coming up soon, but this is enough to help you understand why I'm struggling with setting it up on Obsidian. I have this set up and running on Evernote. I have this set up and running on the Supernode. I help the clients set it up on Evernote. I have some clients that use this. I help them set up it on Scrintle. But here's the thing. Obsidian has this way of dealing with tags that is giving me a little bit of a headache. I cannot tag PDFs, I cannot tag images, and as I explained before, I need to be able to find the information inside the timeline notebook. And one of the features I use on all the systems is filtering by tags. Okay, I haven't figured out the best way to fix that problem on Obsidian yet, but I have a good set of properties, good for my case, it's for my situation, but I want to show you the ones I use to help you figure out which ones would be good for you. So when you see the properties that I'm going to show you now, think of them as my properties, the ones that work for me, and start thinking about the ones that would work for you. Okay, let's go to Obsidian and let me show you how I'm finding and how I'm creating all these mechanisms to find the information that I need to find. Okay, I have already talked about these other templates in other videos. Today, we are talking about the new note, which is the one that creates a new note every time I create a new note. So let's create a new note. This is what I do. Let's use the timeline for this one. I'll right click here, new note. And by the way, this is another advantage the containers offer. I didn't mention this in the beginning, but I always create the notes in a specific container, right clicking that container. I don't use inbox. You can read more about this in this article here. That's how I do it. I right click and create the note. And as you can see, it adds today's date. That happens because there is a code here that will always add today's date to a new note. So let's go back to that and quickly go through all these items here. So title is here just to allow me to add special characters to the title. I don't use this all the time, but sometimes I want to add a title here that has characters that I cannot use on this title here. And it's also how the plugin that I use to post on my blog creates the post titles. It grabs the title from here. Then there's date. We just talked about this. All my notes have dates. This is super important to make my timeline system work. Maybe I can filter using this property here. Anyway, date is super important. Then there's URL. Again, this is here because of my blog posting plugin. It also automatically grabs the URL of the post and adds it to this field here. Locations, we'll talk about this today. This is going to be a long video. This is the plugin that adds my notes to a map. So this is how it works. Like I said, we'll talk about this in a moment. Then there is value, anything that has a number. I use this for numbers. For example, when I go for a run and I want to add how many kilometers I ran. So I can put like, I don't know, 10.30. This is kilometers, not miles, but it will work for anything. Okay, so if it's something I bought, whatever it is, if it is a number, I'll add it here. And I can filter. The idea of having a single note is that depending on where the note is, the folder and the other properties, I can filter the information. Then there's type. This is very important. I've shown you this in previous videos. So this will tell me what is this note about. So is it a blog post, an itinerary, journal, whatever it is, I'll select it here. And this will also help me filter this note. And then there's people. It's the same. I have many people here. I can select people. For example, if it's a journal note, maybe I want to select myself. I want to select, I don't know, someone else, my wife, my father, people that I'm talking about on that note. I also have authors and other people. I don't know why I'm air quoting people. People is people, right? Okay, and other people here on this property. Then there is tags. This will give me another layer to filter information, and this also works very well with the post. The plugin to post on my blog. So if it is a post about Obsidian, I'll add Obsidian here. And this not only will help me filter this node, so let's say together with, for example, type blog, but it will also add the tag Obsidian to that post. To make this work as seamless as possible, every time I create a new node, it doesn't matter where, it will always create it with all the properties and today's date. What makes this possible is the auto template trigger plugin. There are some videos here on the channel, but it's super easy to set up and use. If you install the plugin and you have multiple templates inside the templates folder like I have, it will show you a pop-up window with all your plugins, and you can select one of them in the list. Or you can add here rules. In my case, the rule is every time I create a node anywhere, because I add the forward slash here, select the new node plugin. Again, if I only had one plugin, this one here, it would always select this one. I don't need to set a rule. And I can set specific rules. Let's say in some folders, I need a different plugin. Not my case, but I could set many rules here. And this is why I absolutely love this plugin. To learn how it works, go check the other videos. You'll find them in the description below. I love this map. It's mostly for fun, for looks. I love it. But it also can help me find nodes. For example, if I click here, there's a number 5 here. There are 5 nodes here. And if I hover my mouse over this one here, this is a blog post. I can click again and open this node. But I can also take a look at it like this. And this is how I use it to find information. But these pins are created. Let's go back to this other node here, the template, by this property locations. However, there are 2 types of locations. One is with the S, locations, and the other one is location. So here's the difference. If I add the S, I have 2 locations. I have to add the locations in the body of the node. I have to put the coordinates all over the node. I'll show you how that works. And if I choose location, I have to put the coordinates here, and there's only one. The node is that pin. And I set the template as locations because usually I'm adding multiple locations. When I use this property, I'm adding multiple locations. A trip, for example, a blog post sometimes have more than one location. There are journal entries where I also add more than one location. So I'm usually adding locations instead of location. And if it is just a case of deleting the S if I want to add a single location. Okay, let's go to the plugin. Here it is. I'm not going to go through all the details. There is another video here on the channel. Even that video is not complete because this plugin is so powerful, but that video has much more information. If you want to learn how to use this, please go watch that other video. We are going all the way down here because I want to show you how do I add the pins to the map. So it's all based on tags, and that's why I have to have the property tags. So I have trips, restaurant, cafe, and hotel. Then we have here what creates the icons inside the pin. So this is map, utensils, coffee, and hotel. We'll get back to this in a moment. The color, just write another color. If I write yellow, it will change the color to yellow. Then there's shape. I never changed the shape, and delete and move up and down. And there's the default pin that will be used by the Maps plugin if I don't add any of these tags. So let's go back. So if instead of Obsidian, I have a tag here, trip, this is what will trigger the pin to be a map. Because the map, where is it? The map is the tag trip, okay? So now let's understand this. FA stands for Font Awesome. So let's go to that website. You'll find a link in the description below, but let's search for an icon. Let's say map. There are many maps here. Some of the icons are paid, others are free. If we click free here, here's our map. Let's go back to Obsidian. So here it is, font awesome dash map, and this is what creates the map, the icon. Okay, I'm gonna show you some of my notes now, but don't expect too much. Some of them I'll have to blur, but after that, we'll create a note together. Okay, this is a past trip to Luxembourg, and as you can see, I can even embed a small map inside a note, which I find so cool. Okay, down here, and as you can see, this one has the locations property because there are many locations in this note. This map shows the locations that are set inside this node. Okay, we'll get there. For example, here we have the address of the hotel, and you can see the geolocation here, and this is plotted on the map using the trip tag. The trip tag adds the little flag here. However, if we zoom in a little bit here, you see something different. There is a different icon here because I set a specific tag to the hotel. We'll get there. Okay, so let me show you another one. This one has too much personal information, so it's all blurred. But as you can see, I'm also adding the pictures from the pictures folder. So I created a small journal inside that node, and each of these pictures or places within, there's also some journal entries. They all have their own geolocation, and that's all plotted on the small map inside the node and also on the big map outside the big one that covers the entire screen. So let's create a node. Let me show you how to do this. First thing you want to make sure is what you want to do. So if we want many locations, geolocations, let's keep the S here, locations, and let's tag them inside the node. Okay, to do that, we'll open and close some brackets, then open and close some parentheses, but here we'll write geo column. And from this point, I can click here again, and let's say call it, oh, here it is. So if I click here, even without finishing that, it will grab the geolocation, but it will stop writing here because this is something I was writing. And I can change this. For example, I can put whatever I want here. For example, I don't know, day 1, something like that. Whatever you want, because the geolocation is already here. And now if I click here, I can hover the mouse and see it there. Or I can go to focus and copy the block, go back to the node, edit this node, and include the block here, Command V, and there we have it. Okay, but let's say I want to add something that is not on a map, and this is how I'm doing. Let's say I want to add a node from this spot here, for this coordinates here. Every time you click somewhere on Google Maps, it will give you the coordinates. Just look for this number here after the @ symbol. Just get the ones before and after the common. Don't get this second common one. This is, I think, the altitude. So all you want is the first and second number after the @ symbol. Let's copy that. And now, instead of creating, trying to guess the place, I'm going to do the same thing, geo, but I'm going to paste here the coordinates. And let's write here, for example, whoops, you saw it, it's already there. That's so fun. Park. Let's say, and you don't have to select anything because you already have the coordinates here. But if I do this now, I have both of them here on the map. As you can see, both have the basic pin, but if I add the trip tag here, they now have the little map. However, what if this other one here is a hotel, for example, and I want to tag it as a hotel. So all I have to do here now is add the word tag, column, and hotel. Now I'm telling the map view that that one is a hotel. This is pretty cool. Okay, this is, like I said, mostly for looks, for fun. I love this, but let's say a friend wants to know the name of the hotel I stayed in Rome. It's just a matter of zooming in and clicking on that because I see that that's the icon, the hotel icon, and I have the name. However, all these properties here are here for a reason, and we need to take a look at that now, how I'm using them to cross information and find exactly what I need. Obsidian has a detailed page about search. You'll find the link in the description below. I think you should take a look at it because there's so many that you can combine to find exactly what you want. So let's go back here to Obsidian, to my Obsidian. Let's expand this, make it larger. And now let's go to my bookmarks again. As you can see, it's a little better since the last time you look at it. But let's do one thing here. I'm going to click on this one here, trips. And this will show me a list of all my trips. There are so many missing here, but I'm doing this slowly, okay? But take a look at the top of the list. We have this one here. If I change the name here, Italy, there it is. It's the first one on the list. So what's going on here is that Obsidian is looking for the word itinerary in the type property. It's right here. And what I did was write this, search, click here, and add it to a bookmark. That's it. And if you go take a look at the help page I suggested, you see that we can combine these operators. For example, I can look for, let's say, all the nodes with the itinerary property, type property, plus, let's say, Paris tag. Just put type, column, itinerary in between brackets, space, tag, column, Paris, and that will show me all the nodes that have both the property itinerary inside the tag type. I mean, it said the type, okay, erase all that. The itinerary word associated to the type, the property type, and the tag Paris and the property tag. So we can do all that, and we can also remove, if we use the minus, the dash in front of the word, for example, minus Paris. There's so many possibilities. Go take a look at the help page. It's mind-blowing. If we go back to the bookmarks and, for example, click here on my name, it's the same thing. It's looking for any node that has my name in the people field, the property people. Okay, let's clean this here because I want to show you something that I'm experimenting with. I'm trying to fix that tags problem. So I'm trying file to search for PDF. So here's an example in voice. So this is looking for all the files that have the invoice word in the file title. It's blurred, but these are all PDFs, invoices, and I can filter here. If I click here, I can choose how I'm ordering this. And this will answer a question you probably have there. Why am I adding the date, reverse date, in front of the title of the note if I already have this here? So the problem here is the creation date. I would rather choose to order by creation date, a reverse chronological order, but many of the notes I imported have the date that I imported them, and that's not the correct date. And I'm not going through all the notes. Sometimes I see a note with the wrong date. I change that. There's a video here where you can learn how to change the creation date, but I'm not going to do that. And adding the date in front of the note, it's much easier, it's faster, and I can do that when I import some notes. And then I can choose to order by alphabetic order, but in reverse alphabetic order. And then since I have year, month, and day, the notes will be all ordered in chronological order. It's a workaround. I'm okay with it. Maybe you're not, but it helps because I now have everything in the correct chronological order. And if at some point in the future I decide to go back to use a plugin like Data View, I also have the date filled with the creation date of that note. And also much easier to create it once and save it. Let's say I want to have a list, a quick access to all my invoices. All I have to do is click here and add this to the bookmark, and I can create any name I want, do whatever I want with that to make it easier to find. And this is what you see here. So I have some groups. I have a timeline which shows me items that I'm filtering from inside the timeline. That's just a group. And this is family that I can even collapse like this if I'm not using. This is just another group. You can create groups here, click here, and create a new group. And add items inside this group from now on. I don't want to make things too complex. I removed many plugins. For example, Data View would do this very quickly, but I like that I can always search here. It's simple. I can create some searches. I can save the searches. To me, it's a much cleaner and easier way to do it. I don't have to remember all those codes. I'm not a developer, so it's a little hard for me. And it's much easier to remember this search terms, and also much easier to create it once and save it. Every time we come here together, there is more and more. This is so cool. Okay, I'm finding this much better. I talked about it in the last video. I'm finding it much better to find and when compared to tags because I'm grouping the information. However, this was getting too large. For example, this is a group that I was creating to put together all the notes and pictures and everything about my Apple IIe restoration, which I have to come back. It's been a while. So I added another canvas. I connect it. It's easy. All you have to do is drag the canvas here and it will create this link. If I click here now, it will open that other canvas. As you can see, it's a different address, it's a different canvas, but it's connected to that one. And again, all you have to do is drag it to the other one. And one thing that I found so cool is the fact that it preserves the design. As you can see, it's similar to this. This is such a, let's call it useless detail, but it's so cool. Anyway, so here you can see that I have the pictures to disassemble the keyboard and a bunch of notes to try to troubleshoot this keyboard. And the path, what I did, so everything is here in a way that it's much easier to understand, to make sense of when compared to tags. And I'm now doing the same thing here now to the disk drive. So what I'll be building are these clusters of information. And if I look at this page here, it's so easy to know, okay, this is the keyboard, this is the disk drive, and the screen, whatever it is. A single picture will convey much more information than typing a tag or anything like that. So again, this the canvas is working in some situations to replace tagging things that I cannot on Obsidian. But it's, I'm really, the way this presents the information is so good, and I'm really enjoying this, and that's why I said I want to go back to the project, because I'm now building this other page here and remembering everything I did in the past, and it's been a while. Now that I know how I organize to be able to find information, the next step is to understand how I accomplish, how I do things using the timeline system. But of course, that's a topic for another video, because this one is already long enough. If it was helpful, I'd appreciate a thumbs up. And if you want to help even more, please consider supporting my work on Patreon or YouTube. Thanks for watching. See you soon.